Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, how a new federal directive is affecting Head Start programs. Also tonight, why telehealth medicine continues to grow in popularity. And a U.S. Army veteran is researching how evolution plays a role in PTSD. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Christina Estes, filling in for Ted Simons. President Donald Trump announced he is placing the Washington, D.C. Police Department under federal control and is also going to deploy the National Guard because of what he calls rampant crime in the city. He also said he may consider sending troops to other cities. However, D.C. officials say crime is actually down, with some crimes at 30-year lows. President Trump announced the takeover this morning.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore said Trump's plan to take over law enforcement in D.C. is deeply dangerous. Moore, a Democrat, says that the president's plan lacks data and a battle plan. Moore said, quote, he is simply using honorable men and women as pawns to distract us from his policies, which continue to drive up unemployment and strip away health care and food assistance from those who need it most. Meanwhile, a federal judge heard arguments today on whether the Trump administration broke federal law when it deployed the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles in June to help quell immigration protests. California sued and is asking the court to stop the Trump administration from using military troops to execute or assist in the execution of federal law or any civilian law enforcement functions. A federal judge today denied a request by the Trump administration to unseal grand jury transcripts from its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Both were found guilty of sexual exploitation of minors. The judge said unsealing the documents would erode confidence in people called to testify before grand juries in the future. This ruling comes as President Trump tries to subdue theories of his ties to Epstein. During a trip to Syria, Arizona Congressman Abe Hamada discussed the return of the body of an American aid worker who was taken hostage and later confirmed dead. Hamada talked to the interim president of the war-torn country about returning the body of 26-year-old Kayla Mueller of Arizona. Mueller was captured in Syria in 2013. A new federal directive targets undocumented children and their families by denying them access to the early childhood education program known as Head Start. Arizona Horizon reporter Roxanne De La Rosa has more.
The implementation of the statute targets those most vulnerable at the end of the day. It really does. And when you think about who Head Start serves, it's those most vulnerable, those most youngest in our country.
That's the president of the Arizona Head Start Association, Eve Del Real, sharing her thoughts on the recent Trump administration's directive to only allow U.S. citizen children to be a part of the program.
As we know, SNAP benefits have been reduced, so have other health benefits. Head Start fills the gap in so many different ways because we have integrated services.
Head Start offers more than just early education. It helps low-income families find stable housing and other vital resources, focusing on keeping and uplifting families out of poverty.
Susana Peña is a Head Start teacher at Educare, which participates in research and development in early education. Before becoming a teacher, Peña says she was a single mother at one point. But at the time, she had no idea Head Start existed. She says taking part in a Head Start program, knowing her children were in a safe learning environment, would have been life-changing for her. And due to Trump's recent immigration policies, she sees worried parents scared to even enter her classroom to drop off their children at school. She describes how it's affected one of her students.
They can feel their parents' fear, so it kind of, impacted him, and probably through his day, maybe we say the kids don't understand what we're saying sometimes, but kids do understand. Kids hear, and they know
Parents of children enrolled in Head Start range from essential frontline workers to full-time students who contribute to the state's economy and to the community as a whole.
Taking that layer away from a family during this time could be detrimental. I know we talk a lot about that it creates uncertainty, but what it does is that it creates instability that will have a generational impact.
Program leaders feel there's a misconception that Head Start is just free childcare, and they want to make it clear that
Yes, Head Start is for the children, for the family, for the community. Head Start is more than Head Start. It's family.
Roxanne de la Rosa reporting for Arizona Horizon in partnership with Report for America.
More than 17,000 children are enrolled in Head Start across Arizona. Researchers say children who receive early childhood education are less likely to break the law and are even likely to live longer. To dive deeper into the subject, we're joined by Eve Del Real. She's president of the Arizona Head Start Association. Thank you so much for coming in. The Trump administration's directive, what would that do to Head Start?
It would just derail a lot of the foundational work that we've done. We understand that there's a concern with the legal status of our participants, but the challenge with it is that the guidance that is currently released is very ambiguous, and it makes it challenging for us to understand who would be determined eligible as a participant of the program.
So Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays joined some other states in suing, and right now it's on pause. And part of the lawsuit argues that this new directive was kind of dumped on you without any tools in place to do whatever you would need to do, I guess, to check immigration status. Like, where are you? And is that an accurate description?
Yes, actually, so it is suspended until September 10th from what we understand, and we're very grateful for the support that we received from the Attorney General. And what it essentially will do is that hopefully there'll be some additional guidance as to who's determined eligible, and again, create some streamlined approaches to understanding how we can move forward. It does create a pretty significant administrative burden for a Head Start grantee.
And when you say administrative burden, what does that mean? Like, if you were forced to comply with this, in the next week or so, what would that mean? Like, what does that look like?
The whole process itself is challenging to understand, starting with who's determined eligible. It's unclear if we're determining the legal status of the parent, of the child, members of the household. There's so many different ways that we can work through eligibility determination, again, depending on who's considered eligible as a participant in the program.
It is on pause as this lawsuit sort of works its way through the courts, or at least temporarily on pause. How are you operating right now?
We're moving forward. We're still providing high-quality services to all income-eligible children and families throughout the state, but we understand that it also undermines the confidence in the program out of the fear that some families with mixed status might have. And again, we're willing to comply as long as we understand what is required as a Head Start program.
You've mentioned that some families are fearful, that you've seen some absences increase. What are you hearing from people?
Just a basic concern for the safety of their children, their family, or extended family members. And again, we understand, but historically Head Start has served as a safe space for all children and families, which we care to preserve.
Beyond education, there's a lot of other things that Head Start offers in terms of support for the entire family. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. So Head Start's recognized as a national model not only of early education, but comprehensive services. We provide mental health and nutrition services to families and to children, and then these vital connections to social service programs that help the family move through this vulnerable period in their life. These connections to even workforce development we know are vital to breaking that generational cycle of poverty.
How do you know you're making a difference? What do you see? What do you hear? Do you have data?
We have tons of data. We have 60 years worth of evidence and research that demonstrate that Head Start does make a difference in a family's life.
So someone might hear this and think, well, what is wrong with checking the immigration status? Because, I mean, I don't know, does Head Start have a waiting list?
Oh, yes, we do. I mean, nationally, we serve 700,000 children, and here in Arizona, as you had stated earlier, 17,000. So there's a huge need out in the community for early education and for this level of care, even more so, especially in rural areas.
So Eve, someone might hear that if there's a wait list and say, well, then what's wrong with checking immigration status? Because if we have a wait list of families who are documented, why not let them into the program before those who are not?
I think it's important to remember that Because we start the process without checking legal status, us moving forward and doing so is something that we're willing to comply, as long as we understand what those parameters are.
Looking ahead, what are you hoping, I guess, will be the outcome? Do you not want this at all, or do you think there's a middle ground, or what?
I think there's a middle ground, but I think what's most important is that we understand that all families need support. We'll move forward with complying as needed, but we want to ensure that families don't lose the faith in the program, and that families who may be eligible move forward with seeking our support. It's just concerning that maybe families are fearful of the service now because of this and might just determine not to participate in it.
So what would you say to those parents and those families who are maybe unsure whether they should continue to participate or even look into it?
I would say that they should still connect with their local Head Start program. It's a great opportunity for their child to move forward, to build this capacity that we know is demonstrated through evidence and through research, that they're going to excel. It's a beautiful gift that you can give your child, and we want to ensure that families know we're still there to serve.
Eve Del Real, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it, and I suspect we may hear some more from you pretty soon. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
250 years ago, a new nation was born. Ken Burns tells the story of the American Revolution.
We want to convey what it was like to experience the birth of our country.
Get an exclusive inside look at what it takes to bring history to life. The American Revolution, an inside look.
Tuesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, President Trump declares a crime emergency and deploys the National Guard in Washington, D.C. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
Telehealth, which became popular during the pandemic, continues to grow. Honor Health Hospital Group says in 2023 it handled more than 95,000 telehealth visits across all specialties. As producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Ron Bruce found out, this 21st century house call is, for many, just what the doctor ordered.
Are you on your feet a lot, regularly?
Yeah. For most of us, this is what we think of when it comes to a doctor's visit.
With your ankles, if you can just kind of like start to draw out the ABCs.
But a growing number of patients and doctors are utilizing telehealth.
Telehealth is basically the ability to see your doctor from the comfort of your own home through audio or video without actually physically having to be there in the clinic.
Ever since the pandemic, Dr. Shad Marvasti has been using telehealth more and more and estimates about 30% of his visits are telehealth.
Telehealth can be great for patients with chronic conditions like diabetes, especially if they're being seen in person on a regular basis as needed for certain physical exam components. Telehealth is also useful in the cases of people who have challenges with transportation or single parents or others who are struggling to be able to kind of balance everything in their life and get themselves to the doctor's office. And we're seeing actually telehealth implemented in mental health now, where mental health is really lacking in our healthcare system. And so being able to do telehealth videos for mental health counseling, right, where you definitely don't need a physical exam, you just really need to be able to have that one-on-one interaction, that conversation can be really powerful.
Dr. Marvasti says telehealth also helps tackle some of the biggest challenges facing healthcare, including a shortage of primary care physicians and inequities in access, especially for those in rural communities that may not have a doctor nearby. There are different types of telehealth visits. Most take place with a primary care physician, but patients with an acute issue like cold or flu symptoms can also do telehealth with an urgent care provider.
Where they're not necessarily sure whether or not they need to be seen, but they have questions that need to be triaged and need to be basically assessed, and then kind of the decision can be made based on the history in that conversation as to whether or not they need to come in for a visit or a lab, or that can just be treated through that telehealth visit.
It's good to see you as well. I hope you have good news for me.
A telehealth visit is similar to a regular office visit. The doctor reviews labs and medication and diet and lifestyle with the patient. They can also prescribe or change medication.
The main difference really is just not being, having that physical touch in terms of getting your vitals In some settings of telehealth, we'll also ask the patient if they have a home blood pressure monitor to check their blood pressure at home. They have a pulse oximeter, they can check their oxygen, they can obviously check their weight on a scale at home. If we see that there is a reason for someone to come in, then we can make them, an appointment to be able to be seen physically in the office. But it really helps to increase connectivity to care.
And it also helps with white coat syndrome, that nervous feeling patients get when their doctor walks into the exam room.
I definitely think that people feel more comfortable. You kind of get to see them in their home setting, and they're kind of in a more comfortable setting. They're not hurried to get here. I definitely see that helps with the rapport building as well. Whereas you might intuitively think, like, if I'm not in person, that's a disconnect. But actually, it's more convenient, it's more accessible, and so you're in a more comfortable place and you can actually have a more meaningful connection.
And Dr. Ravasti says telehealth has also changed him as a physician.
It's definitely pushed me to think about all the things that I actually need to do in person versus what I actually am doing with the interaction with the patients. And then just like how impactful this can be on patients, how much I can actually get done, and they can feel a sense of convenience and then be empowered to do things. I think that's really been eye-opening for me. Good to see you again, Bill. Thank you.
Our next guest knows firsthand the realities of military service, and now he's using science to better understand how trauma affects the mind and body. Michael Baumgarten is a U.S. Army Ranger veteran and a PhD student at ASU researching PTSD from an evolutionary perspective through the Institute of Human Origins. That is a mouthful. Thank you.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Tell me, how did your military experience lead you to study PTSD through this lens of anthropology?
I served for almost 11 years, did a few deployments overseas. And that experience during the global war on terror informed a lot of things that I've done in my life. Loss of close friends, not just during service, but then afterwards. And so seeing that happen, I kind of started developing some questions, and then found a place at ASU where someone was actually working on that. And anthropology has a really great set of tools and perspectives to address this across not just kind of specialized populations like U.S. veterans, but broadly across for all humans. Yeah.
How is PTSD usually defined for the general public, so that we are sort of on the same page as we get into this discussion?
Yeah. So PTSD is kind of generally defined as a set of symptoms that persist after a traumatic event that lasts for approximately 30 days or more. So an individual essentially fails to kind of return to kind of a successful regulatory state.
Your recent research with ASU looked at a very specific group of people in Kenya. Tell me about this group and why them.
Yeah. So we looked at this population called the Turkana. They live in northern Kenya. They're a semi-nomadic pastoralist group, so they're dependent on livestock herding. It's very important for their way of life. But they also engage in kind of culturally sanctioned intergroup cattle raiding, and these raids can be lethal. And so they're a unique population that is culturally very different than us, but has a high level of combat exposure and mortality from these raids.
And you found some unexpected results about hormones. Talk about that.
Yeah. So generally the thinking is that individuals with PTSD, that kind of affects your biology, right? So your hormones become dysregulated. And what we found was that really what we didn't find is what's most important is that these Turkana warriors, we looked at their cortisol and their testosterone, and there really was no difference, no change in individuals that would have qualified for kind of a preliminary PTSD diagnosis from those who didn't.
What did you think you would find? Like, what was sort of the assumption?
Yeah, the assumption would be to find some dysregulation, some alteration. It just, at least in this sample, it wasn't there, and it all requires a lot more investigation for sure.
The cultural environment, do you think that's the reason why? And how does that sort of play into the hormone differences?
Yeah, right now we can only speculate and say that may be one way to look at this. The Turkana have very different outlook on kind of intergroup violence, the role of their warriors in society is very different than ours, and so that there may be social coping mechanisms, rituals, et cetera, tighter group bonding. All these things may play a role in how individuals, at least in the Turkana environment, deal with trauma.
So how might the Turkana's experience or what you've witnessed, how does that compare to U.S. veterans?
Yeah, so these two populations are interesting to compare. In the U.S., we have a very different set of cultural norms. We have a very diverse, complex set of kind of morals to navigate, and this applies to soldiers, anyone in the military. Turkana have a very different set of rules. Any kind of fighting or violence is localized. The population also shares in the risk because they are also raided by other groups in return. In the U.S., our wars are fought somewhere else, and we have very different processes of how we connect with warriors, soldiers, whatever word you want to use for that. Where there seems to be a larger gap in the U.S. versus Turkana.
It sounds like there's more of a wall or a distance maybe between U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean the experience, like my experience in Afghanistan and Iraq, while they're veterans, people that were there understand that it's very different to explain that to those who didn't serve, younger folks, and so the Turkana, they don't have that same issue.
Michael Baumgarten, thank you very much. We've got just a few seconds left. Where can somebody find some more information about the research?
Yeah, if they go to the ASU, the website for the Institute of Human Origins, they'll be able to find it that way, or I don't know, just Google my name, I suppose.
Thank you for your research, and thank you very much for your service.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Christina Estes, in for Ted Simons. Have a good night.
Hello, I'm Alice Ferris, and we hope you enjoyed Arizona Horizon. For more than 40 years, viewers in Arizona have relied on Arizona Horizon for in-depth coverage of issues of concern to our community. Host Ted Simons has led insightful public affairs discussions on topics ranging from state politics to national policies. Now, we are asking you to invest in this vital community resource that helps each of us better understand the world around us and how it affects the Grand Canyon State. What sets Arizona Horizon apart is that unlike conventional newscasts, Arizona Horizon goes beyond the headlines and sound bites. And over the last few months, Arizona Horizon has provided key resources to help educate and inform citizens across the state with election-related programming. Whether through candidate debates and discussions, Arizona Vote specials, or full election night coverage, Ted Simons and the Arizona Horizon team were a trusted partner you could count on. Who knows what the future holds? But one thing we do know is with your support, Arizona Horizon will be here with us every step of the way. But counting on that hinges on your financial contribution. So please visit us online or call or text the number on your screen with your donation. And when you give right now, we have some very special ways we can thank you. Here's more.
Now is the time for you to show your support for Arizona Horizon. When you make a sustaining monthly gift of $5 or an annual gift of $60, we would love to send you the Arizona Horizon mug with our thanks. Emblazoned with the show's logo, this elegant mug is perfect for any beverage, hot or cold. Increase that sustaining gift to $10 or make an annual contribution of $120. We would love to send you the stylish Arizona PBS tote with our thanks. Emblazoned with the logos of all the local programming you love on this station, this vibrant tote is perfect for the on-the-go lifestyle we all live today. Make a generous sustaining gift of $12 or an annual donation of $144, and we'll thank you with both the